Let's go. 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 Let's go.
Ashley Banfield is on the phone with us again from Lower Manhattan with more on what is still burning there. Ashley?
Brian, I can no longer hear you, but I just want to reiterate for you, if we can zoom in past me, that building right there, the brown building, the tall one, is number 7 World Trade Center. I've heard several reports from several different officers now that that is the building that is going to go down next. In fact, one officer told me they're just waiting for that to come down at this point, that there's no way it's going to be recovered and there's no way that they can stabilize it. The building that is directly south of it is number 6 World Trade Center. It apparently, in fact, you were just told by police that you should move out of your apartment, Fabiana. Yes. You've got Carolina here?
Yes. They advised us to leave because we have...
Oh my God. Look behind us. Please pan in this way. Please be careful of your baby. This is it.
That's the building coming down.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. No. No. Listen. We'll be all right. We'll be all right.
We're okay. I think we're okay. Ashley, I think we're okay.
All right. We're going to have to move this way. We're going to have to move. We're going to have to move. That cloud is coming this way.
Yeah. Ashley, get out of there. Leave the camera unmanned if you need to, and get out of there. What we've been fearing all afternoon has apparently happened. We were watching number 7 World Trade, which was part of the ancillary damage of the explosion and collapse of the other 2. We've been talking all day about how fast these plumes of smoke move. And you're watching one on the move right now.
And they would have past and present captains of industry, like Jack Welch from General Electric, CEOs of Southwest Airlines, people like that. So Larry Silverstein was on this show, History's Business, and Larry was the owner of World Trade Center 7, who had taken over the tower complex, Twin Tower complex, in 2001 from the Port Authority of New York, New Jersey. He leased them for 99 years at a cost of $115 million a year. So he was on, and this had to be in early 2004, because they showed the new Freedom Tower, which it's built now. They call it One World Trade Center. And they had a design competition, and the thing that won, the design that won was a 1,776-foot tall building with that counted the antenna at the top. So they showed that design. They talked about 9/11. At the end, the host said to Larry, very matter-of-factly, he asked him a question. He says, "What happened to 7? And I had been perplexed about it. Larry very matter-of-factly said Building 7 was a controlled demolition, using those words. I wasn't suspicious. It was like a head slap moment for me. I said, oh, that makes sense. And the implication, I think he even talked about, is so damaged, and for safety reasons, they took it down.
And he actually, Larry Silverstein himself, you say, used the words controlled demolition.
I would swear in a courtroom that's what he said, yes.
Is this the quote where he says that the decision was made to pull it?
No, that was on Frontline in September 2002. This had to be 2004 when I saw this, because they showed that new building design. That had to be after December 2003. Well, when he said that, and, I said, oh, that made sense. I wasn't asking, when would there have been a chance to set the charges or anything. I didn't think about that. I thought they could do it. And in early 2006, I heard about the physics professor from Brigham Young University bringing up issues with molten metal in the rubble of the 3 collapsed buildings. I didn't know about that. When I heard it, I thought, is it a quirky anomaly? I have to read his paper.
This is Stephen Jones, is it?
Yes, this is Stephen Jones, the physics professor from BYU. And he had written a paper called Why Indeed Did the World Trade Center Buildings Collapse? So I'm reading the paper, and he's talking about Building 7, which is what caught his attention. And only then did I ask myself, wait a minute, when did they get a chance to set the charges in Building 7? I saw Silverstein say it was a controlled demolition. I hadn't heard anything else. I didn't even know there was a 9/11 truth movement. I said, there's a problem with this. And it started dawning on me. And then I started looking into it and looking at the towers. And you can see explosive jets coming out of the towers, certainly on the corners and on the sides at times. So it all started to look like this was a setup, and that very possibly that those aircraft impacts were nothing but causal ruses to blame outsiders. So,
did it not cross your mind that perhaps Al-Qaeda could have gone in very, very quickly and planted those explosives?
Well, yeah, I guess it did. But the fact of the matter is the authorities in the United States haven't interrogated anybody that had access to the interiors of buildings. I found that out later. I started looking into it, and I said somebody could have done that. Who did it? I didn't say immediately it was somebody in the United States, but I knew that it wasn't because of the aircraft impacts. Certainly Building 7 wasn't. And Building 7 was a controlled demolition. And I watched Silverstein say that. And by the way, when I started to realize that there was something wrong, I contacted the History Channel. Every show for years, they would say, if you want this show on DVD or CD or DVD or VHS, just call this number or go to this website. Well, I called them about that show, and I asked about it, and they told me that series was not available to the public. The show certainly existed. I saw it. I'm not making this up. I have no reason to make it up. I'm a 58-year-old engineer. It doesn't behoove me to do that. So, I looked into it, and it turns out that this is not what we've been told, unfortunately.
I remember getting a call from the fire department commander telling me that they were not sure they were going to be able to contain the fire. And I said, we've had such terrible loss of life. Maybe the smartest thing to do is pull it.
Everybody left that area. And around 5 o'clock, the search and rescue ended because World Trade Center building number 7, they were anticipating that building was going to collapse. The search and rescue effort of Ground Zero stopped. Everybody left that area. They were anticipating that building was going to collapse. The search and rescue effort of Ground Zero stopped. Everybody left that area.
I remember getting a call from the fire department commander telling me that they were not sure they were going to be able to contain the fire. And I said, we've had such terrible loss of life. Maybe the smartest thing to do is pull it.
And around 5 o'clock, the search and rescue ended because World Trade Center building number 7, they were anticipating that building was going to collapse. The search
almost 5 o'clock, and at that point I saw these 3 firemen on a little bit of a rise, fumbling with a flag, and it didn't immediately register to me what they were about to do.
We thought it was another explosion was indeed, according to the Associated Press, another building that has either been attacked or exploded. So it appears to be separate from the 2 that we have already witnessed this morning. And if you take a look,
there's been an attack on the other World Trade Center, and also an attack on the other World Trade Center, and also the Pentagon, near to the Pentagon in Washington, the defense headquarters. We don't really know much about the other 2. There's been an attack on the other World Trade Center, and also the Pentagon, near to the Pentagon in Washington, the defense headquarters. Who is responsible? That is still unclear. The Democratic Front for the Liberation of Palestine have denied being behind the attack.
Of a 4th explosion at the Trade Center. 4th explosion at the Trade Center.
Evacuated out of the immediate area. I mean, clearly fearing that the World Trade Center Twin Towers would collapse, and indeed they were proved right. And another building next to the World Trade Center has also collapsed. But I haven't been able to listen to the local stations. I'm afraid the local television stations are running this in very American style as a drama. I think they're just going.
Some New York City officials. Frank, go ahead. That's right. I'm standing here right now just off Broadway by City Hall with Michael Hess, who is the city's corporation counsel. Mr. Hess, you were trapped in, I believe, 7 World Trade Center. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, I was. I was up in the Emergency Management Center on the 23rd floor, and when all the power went out in the building, another gentleman and I walked down to the 8th floor where there was an explosion, and we've been trapped on the 8th floor with smoke, thick smoke all around us for about an hour and a half. But the New York Fire Department, as terrific as they are, just came and got us out.
Space back on Chambers in that area. So now they're walking back toward the World Trade Center. And as we keep letting you hear the personal stories, the survivor stories of exactly what happened inside the World Trade Center when that first plane went in, and of course the collapses since then, we're going to bring more of those to you now. Barry Jennings, you were on the 8th floor. You work for the City Housing Department. Explain to me the moment of impact.
Well, me and Mr. Hess, the corporation counsel, were on the 23rd floor. I told him we got to get out of here. We started walking down the stairs. We made it to the 8th floor. Big explosion. Blew us back into the 8th floor. And I turned to Hess. I said, this is it. We're dead. We're not going to make it out of here. I took a fire extinguisher and I bust the window out. That's when this gentleman here heard my cries for help. This gentleman right here, and he kept saying, stand by, somebody's coming to get you. They couldn't get to us for an hour because they couldn't find us.
You thought that was it?
I thought we're dead. I thought that was it. I started praying to Allah. I said, that's it. We're gone. It's over.
What was it like for you? You were inside there as well.
It was pandemonium. I mean, it was something like out of a Bruce Willis Die Hard movie. He was there and he was crying, and there was another gentleman crying and for help. We couldn't get to him. We tried to get through we went through the buildings. We were lost. Both staircases, the backside was completely blown away. There was no way to access us. We couldn't get to them. And finally, one of the fire department teams found them. But we didn't think they were going to make it.
Well, certainly you got out. Many others didn't. Of course, we don't have a number right now of fatalities or injuries. But I want to translate a story to you that another man.
Rescue workers pushed people away from the scene. I asked Rosars to review her video on Facebook with me about the building about to blow up, and I was going to ask about the other people in the video, and I wanted to find out who and how they knew the building was about to blow up. What I got from the CNN producer was a wild pack of lies, misquotes, and I did not find out the police officer's name who said move it back. Rosars misquotes the video not once but twice, and most likely every time. The first one, who says keep an eye on this building, was a firefighter. Quotation mark. Full quote was keep an eye on this building because it will be coming down. Rosars CNN, the one who says the whole thing is about to blow up, is my photojournalist who could see it through his lens. Why do you ask? Full quote was the building is about to blow up, move it back. Alright guys. Move it back because the building is about to blow up. She is lying about every sentence. And who said what? Why would anyone do this? Clearly the guy who said move it back, the building is about to blow up, is not her photojournalist. Only police have the right to tell people to move it back.
there.
Keep your eye on that building. It'll be coming down.
Building is about to blow up. Moving back.
All right, guys. Sorry.
We are walking back. There's a building about to blow up. On flame. Debris coming down.
Yes.
A third building at the World Trade Center complex, weakened by fire and the explosions, collapsed at about 5:45 p.m. Why would Building 7 be weakened by bombs?